everyone, it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm hoping to read in May, because somehow it's already May. I don't know when this happened. First of all, I apologize for disappearing off the face of the earth this past week. I went from posting 5 videos a week to just not posting anything, and I did eventually post on Instagram that was because I had a French exam last week, so between that and work really picked up, I did not have the time, so I'm sorry, I was ill prepared. Usually I'll spend my weekends filming and editing, but I was busy the weekend before my exam, so just none of it ended up working out. But it's fine, we are back, and I'm going to spend this weekend filming, so then I can go back into May where I'm hoping to post like 4 to 5 videos a week. So it won't always be 5, but that's going to be my aim. Basically planning for 5, and then worst case scenario, some weeks you might get less, some weeks you might get more. Who really knows? We're just kind of playing it cool. But today I wanted to chat about the books that I'm hoping to read this next month, and honestly, it's kind of a toss-up. It's a little bit of everything. It's not a very big list because I did end up taking the past week off of reading even. I haven't read anything since I did my Colleen Hoover reading vlog. I had been kind of casually listening to an audiobook, but I don't think I've actually like finished a book since then. So I finally ended up picking one up last night, and that's because I finally finished with Downton Abbey, which I was watching for the first time, and that was really enjoyable. My mom and I were watching it, so I was like texting her my reactions because she became very obsessed with it, and then I became very obsessed with it, and it was just a good time. But surprisingly, like, none of the books that I have here to read have anything remotely to do with that. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So before we get into today's video, I just wanted to take a second to thank the sponsor for today's video, Mudwater. You guys know I really love coffee, but I've actually been trying to lessen my coffee intake. But one of the things that I love the most about coffee is that morning ritual of waking up, having a hot cup of something. It really starts my day off on the right foot. Now, Mudwater is actually a coffee alternative. This has been really great to help me keep that morning ritual, but consuming something that I feel good about. Like I said, Mudwater is a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and Ayurvedic herbs. It really keeps that ritual in mind and is a drinkable ritual that addresses the mind, body, and soul. It's as versatile as your morning coffee, meaning there are a bunch of different recipes that you can try with it, but it offers you that without the anxiety or midday crash. So if you want a latte or whatever, you can still have it, but just in a different way. So they very kindly sent me their starter kit to try out, and I have been very much enjoying it. So it contained a 30-day tin of mud, a USB rechargeable frother, and a free sample of their vegan coconut creamer. Mud includes ingredients such as cacao, chai, lion's mane, chaga, and cordyceps, which offer a huge range of benefits, including helping your mood, focus, physical performance, and your immune system. It's 100% USDA certified organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, and plant-based, along with it being Whole30 and kosher. So pretty much anyone can have it. If you guys were interested in trying out Mudwater, I definitely recommend it, and they have been kind enough to offer 15% off of their starter kit for you guys if you click the link in my description box down below and use the code that I have. So definitely check it out. Let me know how you feel about it. I've really been enjoying it, and I hope that you guys will too. And thank you so much once again to Mudwater for sponsoring today's video. So I guess the one kind of connecting factor with all of these books is that I'm hoping to read some adult romances. I'm kind of in the mood for some quick and easy reads, and that's exactly what adult romance gives me. So I think I'll be sticking to that in contemporaries. And the other part of that is I feel like it's manifesting warmer weather for me. I'm so unused to having temperatures like they are for this long. Like by the time it's May, usually where I'm from, it would be warm enough where I can sit outside and read and it's beautiful. But there hasn't really been a day yet where it's been warm enough for me to sit outside and read, which makes me really sad. So I'm hoping that with these books I can manifest that nice weather where I can sit on the deck and just read a book and be outside, and I just really enjoy that. I thrive. So the first book that I have here is The Heart Principle by Helen Hoang. I guess this one isn't really the appropriate one to have that intro for, but whatever. So I know that this book, a lot of people say, isn't so much a rom-com like the other books are, although the other books in this series, which it's a series of companion novels, they also have had kind of a deeper element, but I've heard that this one has a very deep element to it. I'm not exactly sure what, but I know that I think there were trigger warnings. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to go in and then see how I enjoy it. But this is following Quan and his own love story, and it is so exciting to be with these characters again because I've enjoyed the other two previous books so much. And Quan, he ends up with this girl named Anna, and she's a violinist, and she has a video of her playing violin that ends up going viral, so she's dealing with like this newfound fame and everything, and it just seems like a really interesting read. So I'm so excited because I have loved all of Helen Hoang's books so far, and like I said, I'm so delighted to be with these characters again, so I think this is going to be a really great read for this next month. I've been talking about reading it for so long now, it is ridiculous, so I think it's time for me to finally do that. Next up is The Romantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. So this is the latest book by Claire Kahn, and I actually have another book of hers on my TBR. She usually writes YA, and this is actually an adult novel by her, which is really exciting, and this cover is adorable. I just live for it. So this is about like a twisted web of romances. So Joy is in love with Malcolm. Malcolm wants to date Summer. Summer is in love with Love, and Fox is Summer's ex-boyfriend. So it follows a 30, flirty, and asexual main character named Joy, who is secretly in love with her best friend, Malcolm. So there's like a lot of things happening there, obviously. You can see that it's kind of a twisted web of things, and we have asexual representation, which is what Claire Kahn usually writes. I'm pretty sure every single one of her characters, at least I've read one of her books so far, and that one featured an asexual main character, and I think that if it makes you happy, I'm pretty sure is the other book that I have of hers. I think that that one has an asexual main character as well, but I've never read an adult book with an asexual main character, so I think it's great that that representation is making its way into the adult romance genre, and I'm really excited to read this one. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's kind of set on vacation, so that's exciting. So yeah, they go on a weekend getaway, so that's definitely going to be an interesting situation with all of the like romance things that are going on, to see how that's actually going to end up going, but I think that this book will be a lot of fun. Next up is Much Ado About You by Samantha Young. This book is set in a small, cozy, like countryside English town where the main character, her estranged mother, has passed away, but then she finds out that she left her this bookshop in a small village in England, so she ends up actually moving there and starts running this bookshop, and she's Shakespeare obsessed, so it's like perfect. But obviously she gets her own love story along the way. I think this seems amazing. It does seem like a really good spring read because when I think England, I usually think rain, and it's been really rainy lately. Like, that has just been the vibe, and spring in general is usually pretty rainy, so I feel like this one would be a good one to read during the springtime. But either way, I always love a good bookish romance, and I think this is going to give me exactly that. It's definitely a character who's kind of experiencing like a change in her life, like her life is completely changing and she's trying to find her footing again, so I think that that seems very relatable for me, and I think it will be a great read for me this month. Next up is Meet Me in the Margins by Melissa Ferguson. This one is another kind of bookish romance, if you will, but I've talked about this one quite a bit because I really would like to read it before my internship is over, because I'm doing an internship at Penguin Random House Canada right now, and this is set at a publisher, so it feels like the perfect time. Even though like my internship is remote, it's still, you know, it still makes sense. I'm still in the publishing world right now, so what better time than now to read a book, a romance book in particular, that is set at a publishing house. So this is about a character who's working for this literary fiction publishing house, and she has a secret, which is that she really loves writing romance, but as most literary fiction people think that romance, like they kind of turn their nose up at it. She doesn't tell people, but there's this secret room at her publishing house that she's been working on her own romance manuscript. And the one time she ends up forgetting it there, she comes back and finds that it's actually been edited. So through her manuscript, she's starting this romance with a coworker that she doesn't even know. Like, how awesome does that sound? I think that sounds like so much fun. But my internship is done in June, so I really need to try and get to this in the next month, or else I'm gonna be so sad if like my internship is done and I don't end up staying on and I don't get to read this book. That'll be really sad. But even if I do end up staying on, I would like to try and read this for my internship. It just feels appropriate. But yeah, this is one that I'm definitely going to be trying to pick up really soon. Next is How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. This is a book that I have seen all over the place and don't really know that much about. I know on the back it says, one daring to-do list and a crash course in flirtation turn a type A overachiever's world upside down. So this I know has been pretty hyped up on TikTok, and as you guys know, I became very obsessed with TikTok recently, but now since I've been so busy, I really haven't been on TikTok that much, so it feels like a whole other life. I still do enjoy it and I still want to get back to making them again, but I just haven't had a lot of time to do so. But this is a book, like, I would really like to read all the like TikTok's top hits to see if they're actually worth it, and then do a video like about the most hyped books on TikTok. I have done one before, but I would like to do another one, obviously, because there's just so many. And this is one that I feel like I would probably really like. I'm also very drawn to the cover, the color scheme. I love the purple, and then with the pinks and the blues, it makes me very happy. That has nothing to do with the inside of the book, but it does make me want to pick this one up. Like, there's something about it that is just calling my name. So I would like to answer that call very soon, but that is true of like so many books. I really struggle. Next is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm so excited that I have this book in my hands right now because I have been dying for a new Emily Henry book. Emily Henry, I would say, is probably one of my favorite authors, and she used to write in YA, but now she has primarily been focusing on writing adult romances, and they are so good. She's written 2 so far, well, 3 including this one, but I've read the 2 that are already out, and this one is coming out this week, but I already have my copy, which is so exciting. But she kind of writes literary romances. Her first book was about writers, and then her second book was about travel writer, and now this is about a literary agent. And it's a literary agent who is trying to go out of her comfort zone, really. So it's one summer, 2 rivals, and a plot twist that they didn't see coming. She is very obsessed with books. She's actually, is she a literary agent? Okay, yes, she is. She's a literary agent, and then it's an editor who's the love interest. I knew there was an editor, so that's why I was getting confused. But no, she's a literary agent. She's very cutthroat, really good at her job, and she has this brooding editor who she doesn't really get along with, but the 2 of them end up crossing paths, obviously, and we've got a little enemies to lovers literary romance. I'm really looking forward to this one. Emily Henry hasn't disappointed yet. I've loved her writing, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one because I will be very disappointed if not, to be honest. My expectations are so high, just given how I felt about her previous books. It feels like it's going to be a home run. And then to finish this list off, like I said, it's really not as big as my usual TBRs, but I have a very random book that is unlike the other ones on this list, but that is The Bones of Ruin by Sarah Raleigh. You guys know by now I've been dying to read this book, but there are so many books that I've been dying to read that I just like don't end up picking up. And I think part of it is I'm so worried about being disappointed, so I just keep on putting it off and I pick up other things instead. I'm waiting for like the perfect right moment, which does not exist, so it's just a really weird habit of mine. But this one, it suffered from that. Like, I would so love to get to this one. It seems like a really interesting and out there topic. It's set in Victorian London, and you're following an African tightrope walker, and she has the secret ability that she can't die, so that's definitely really interesting. But she ends up being invited to this like apocalypse survival thing. I don't know, it seems really different, and I love a good unique read. So those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. I feel like there's definitely a few more that I would like to pick up, but those are the ones that are like sticking out to me right now. I would like to get back to as much reading as I have been doing this past year. Like, I've been doing pretty well despite being really busy, and I think taking that week off did do me good. I think it was a good decision because it's like when I'm going from book to book constantly, it can be kind of exhausting. So it was good to I just didn't feel like reading, you know? I go through phases where in my free time, I'll want to read the whole entire time, but then other phases where I'll either want to watch TV shows and other phases where I just want to watch YouTube. Like, it really depends. And when I'm in those phases of watching things, I read a lot less because I'm also not listening to audiobooks, because that's usually when I would listen to audiobooks, is when I have time to like watch TV or watch YouTube stuff. So basically, that's just why I haven't been reading all that much this past week. But it was a good decision. I'm very happy with it because now I feel recharged and ready to go and tackle all of these books. And there are so many good, like amazing anticipated titles that are coming out in May. It's always a really big month for new releases, so it was the perfect time to take a little bit of a break. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and thank you to mudwater for sponsoring me today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in another new video soon. Bye!